What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode on Keeping It Real with Credit, live and direct every week. And thank you so much for tuning in. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode on Keeping It Real with Credit. I'm your host, Ray from Keeping It Real. And if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing because on this channel, we basically talk anything and everything regarding credit and personal finance. So for those of you guys just tuning in, welcome. And again, if you're new to this channel, also welcome. Guys, the whole purpose of this channel is to go ahead and start a conversation and to, give the opportunity to you guys to ask me anything regarding your credit questions, right? Personal finance. At any moment at this time, in any moment in this video, if you want to go ahead and give us a call to get a free credit evaluation, feel free to call the number on the screen because that number is going to get you in touch with one of my credit analysts actually sitting right behind me on the other side of this wall. And what they're going to go ahead and do is they go over in detail on all the details regarding your credit report and also discuss some information as to how credit works, what the rules and regulations and laws that we're using to legally remove items from your credit report, and also to see what we're working with, right? If the accounts that are negatively impacting your score, if we're able to do anything with them, or at the very least come up with a plan of attack on how we can raise your score depending on what you want to raise your score for, right? So we definitely have the opportunity for that, and we've helped hundreds and hundreds, if not even thousands of clients at this point, to get their credit score right now to go over to the next level. So guys, at any point in this time, feel free to go ahead and submit your questions here on the side, and I'll go ahead and give it my best shot to go ahead and answer those questions. And in the meantime, guys, I'm going to go ahead and show you some results, and some interesting results I want to go ahead and discuss with you guys, just so you guys get a better idea as to the credit restoration process, how it works, and how it may contribute towards raising your credit score, right? Because you very well may have the same things reporting on this credit report. All right, so let me go ahead and start off by let me do a quick switch here. Perfect. All right, guys. So this is the first result. So we're gonna go ahead and talk over to you guys. I'll give you guys the opportunity to go ahead and set up your questions. But in the meantime, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and show you this first set of results. And guys, for those of you guys that don't know, this right here is actually a evaluation, an analysis. This is something that every one of our clients get, whether you sign up with us or not. But everybody gets this analysis, this printout. This is for you to keep, and it pretty much breaks down everything that's on your credit report. Has some great credit information, and just a lot to learn from here, and next steps if you do choose to hire us as your credit restoration company. So as you see here, obviously we've initialed the name for security reasons. Credit report analysis. This is as of May 2nd of 2020. Obviously, this is our company information on here, and a little welcome letter, some credit information. And what I want to go ahead and highlight here is that this individual, as of right, this were their scores: 460, 502, and 505 on their identity IQ on March. Wow, it's been a long day. So March 2nd of 2020, these were his scores, and he came to us with 37 negative items, right? And these are the items that were reflected and the reason why. So this is our system kind of picks up on these things and kind of, um, uh, you know, brings everything on here. So it's easy to understand, and you know exactly why these accounts are negative. This customer also had two public records, right? A Chapter 7 bankruptcy reporting on Experian and Equifax. And again, the issue is that they're both discharged, and then 32 inquiries there. And last but not least, at the time of enrollment, this individual came into us with no lines of credit at all whatsoever, which, that was the situation then. And so let's go ahead and look at August, as of August 14th, same individual. So remember, 37 items, low 400s. And let's go ahead and kind of talk about what the change was. So came in March. Now as of August, where he's well over the 623, 633, 653. Came in with 37 negative items, now has 22. So we've taken a big chunk of it. Obviously, there's still more work to be done. Bankruptcy still remain because those take a little bit longer because there's a different strategy or a different approach on how we're removing these bankruptcies from the credit report. and came in with 30 something inquiries and now down to 24. And the interesting thing about it is, obviously we are now selling authorized user trade lines. And so this right here obviously is a result for that. Notice how the last analysis had this zeroed out. Now these are authorized user trade lines that hit his credit report, right? However, they're not as effective as I usually tell people. If you know that these limits or these authorized user accounts would have impacted the credit score a little bit more had it been that these items were less, right? So we usually do recommend trade lines after the fact. However, these trade lines are going to stay on for a little bit. So within the next month or so, these items should be removed and include with this bankruptcies, which should bring his scores well over the 700s once that happens, right? And let me see, we have the summary on here. No, that's pretty much it. And so let me see here. We also have here a collection notice from one of the clients. Oh, sorry about that, guys. And let me see here. And one thing that I wanted to pay attention to, you guys, right? If you guys are getting collection letters, please read everything that you see on there, right? And question everything. But you see this part right here? The law limits how long you can be sued on a debt because of the age of your debt. We will not sue you for it, and we will not report it to any credit reporting agency. This is a notice required knowledge. It's called the statute of limitations. The statute of limitations, in a nutshell, is kind of like the time frame in which a collection agency can sue you for that debt. And once it's past the statute of limitations in your state, right, it varies by debt, by type of debt, and also by state, right? But once an account is past the statute of limitations, they can no longer sue you for it. So you're probably better off on just waiting till the account falls off, or maybe dispute it. But again, mostly just waiting till the account falls off, and then again moving forward with it. If you pay an account like this one, for example, even if it's just, excuse me, this amount right here, what's going to happen is that you're going to reset the clock on the amount of time in which that account will remain. Well, it can go back on your credit report because you just reset the clock. And now now they're able to go ahead and legally get after you because again you just reset it via getting in some sort of agreement with them, payment plan with them, and so on and so forth, right? So I just wanted to show you guys this as an example because there are collection letters out there that have this type of language on there, and it's something you want to go ahead and pay attention to, and really kind of move forward based on that knowledge, right? And so let me get back here to you guys. All right, awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and answer some of you guys' questions on here, so that we can go ahead and move forward. So Jig, what's up, man? 1017 asked, when do IRS collection fall off? A friend has a $1,000 collection that has grown to $2,600 since 2009 2010. Their last payment was 2014, and they recently received a letter in the mail. Jiga, if you don't mind me asking, is that actually reporting on the credit report? If not, I don't think it. I don't even think it matters if it reports or not, because at that point, it's considered a government debt, and government debts never go away. It might take it from your next tax submission, so on and so forth. But for the most part, that right there, I would need some more information on that. Jay Craig, opinion on balance transfers for consolidation. I mean, depending on how much we're talking about, but I think a balance transfer, sure, you want to go ahead and transfer it to a card. I would say transfer it to the card with the biggest limit on there, because that way it wouldn't go over too much over your utilization. However, I think that's a great idea for somebody that, just because it condenses everything all in one card. And then obviously, as long as you're paying that back on time, you should be in good hands, right? And then that way, everything is a lot more organized and simpler to understand, and to address when it comes to that day of the month. So that right there should help you out tremendously. So I think I agree with the balance transfers, again considering what how much the limit is. and how much you're actually transferring over to that card. So hopefully that helps. JK asked if they pass a bill that eliminates $10,000 of our student loans, will it help your credit score? No, it wouldn't help your credit score. I mean, depends on how much student loans you took out, right? But for the most part, if you have any late payments at all whatsoever on your credit report due to student loans, then that will remain even if the balance is, forgiven for some sorts. Now, if $10,000, if all you took out is $10,000, that may help. However, remember, guys, the credit is a formula, right? 35% of your score is payment history, 30% of your score is availability of credit, mixture of credit history, so on and so forth. And so it's not so much how much you owe, but what the information is reflecting, right? If you have late payments, then that's going to hurt your score. If you lower your availability of credit, I'm not talking about loans or student loans, but like as far as available credit, if you lower that, that's going to hurt your score. And there's a variety of other things that contribute to hurting your score, but lowering the balance on a student loan may not hurt your score. It may relieve some debts. And if you only have $10,000 of student loans debts and that's forgiven, then that's obviously great, because at the end of the day, student loans, it's a government loan and it will never go away. All right, Tico Blaine, what's up, brother? I've been stuck at a 720-ish for over a year. One student loans, two credit cards that I only use 30% and will pay off full every month, two mortgages and one car loan. Any ideas to get my score into the 800s? Yep. Increase your credit limits or apply for more cards, because that again contributes to your overall of total availability of credit and increase the average age of what your of the age of the accounts. And so this is actually a great opportunity for you to look into some trade lines. We also sell trade lines, and so what that does right there is it should boost your score high enough again to do what you got to do with your credit. But for the most part, if you don't want to purchase trade lines, then I would suggest maybe increasing the limits on all your credit cards, if not applying for a new one, because again, that's going to add to your total availability of credit. But the only reason I say consider trade lines is because these season trade lines are between 5 to 30 years old, meaning 30 years of on-time payment history, with a significant limit that'll report on your credit report. Like if you had it, that's going to boost your score tremendously. And what you can do with that elevated credit score that's going to happen temporarily, you'll be able to go ahead and apply for more credit cards for bigger limits, because this balance is reflecting a bigger limit. And for the most part, what's going to do, it's going to allow you to get proof for those type of credit cards, so that when the trade line that you bought falls off, the new one that you applied for that actually does belong to you will remain on there for an extent, for as long as you have it, right? And so getting into the 800s is pretty difficult. However, it's going to require higher limits, either more credit cards or a longer history of on-time payment history. And so, that's my suggestion for that. Felipe Martinez, how you doing, man? I'm around 611 score, and there's about a few items that need to be removed. So I need to raise my score to get a mortgage. And do I have to pay or make some sort of arrangements to pay any collections? Great question, Felipe, and it's a question that a lot of us have, and it's perfectly understandable. So usually, what I tell people is to really pay attention, right, as to the how the FICO scoring algorithms are calculated, right? And so I say that because, see, mortgage companies are using older FICO scoring models, which factor in your credit a whole way differently than the FICO scoring models that maybe you have access to or you're purchasing through a credit monitoring system. With that being said, paying a collection in itself will not remove that collection from your credit report unless you negotiate a payment for delete, which is really hard to get. And I advise against it, or only as a last resort, because you in order to negotiate a payment for delete, to some extent you have to admit to the debt, right? And we don't want to be so quick to admit to the debt just yet, because at the end of the day, if you're dealing with a collection agency, it is a third party, a party that you never contracted with in the first place, and so they have the burden of proof, which is why we send dispute letters, or where I recommend sending dispute letters first, because if in that investigative process they're not able to prove, one, that you owe the debt, and two, that they own the debt that they're claiming that you owe, then it's pretty much, irrelevant, and that account would have to get removed. If that account gets removed from your credit report, then obviously your score goes up. If you pay the account with the purpose of assuming that your credit score is going to raise up, or that account is not going to factor in no more, then it's wrong. If you pay that account now, what's going to happen is that's going to stay another 7 years from the date that you paid it. Yes, it's going to stay paid, but the older FICO scoring algorithms consider the collection, whether it's paid or not, as still negatively impacting your score. And so I'm saying that to say to really consider, if your purposes is to buy a home, we're talking about borrowing six figures, right? And they're gonna, the banks, if to lend you that type of money, they're really gonna scrutinize your credit report or your financial history. They're gonna look at everything with a fine tooth comb. And so the less negative items to no negative items you have, the higher the probability that the bank is going to approve you, because they're going to say, hey, look, this guy never has no collection. He doesn't have anything, nothing that leads me to believe that he's a high risk or not going to pay my money back. And so that right there is, it's how you have to organize your credit report in a way where you come across that way to a bank, right? So hopefully that right there helps answer your question. Francisco Velez, what's up, man? How you doing? Awesome girl 3000, can you remove student loans? Yes, we can remove student loans, and we remove them all the time. So if you have any questions regarding your student loans, we'd love to take a look at it in a free credit evaluation, and you're more than welcome to call the number on the screen. Again, that's 888-224-0058, option number one. And I'm also going to head, guys, I'm going to take it one step further, and I'll go ahead and copy and paste my Cali link. If you want to go ahead and lock down an evaluation, you're with us, you're able to get in by scheduling it with this right here. So there you go, guys. Right there, there's the link to my calendar link. There you'll be able to see my times and availabilities to conduct a free credit evaluation. So that way I can give you, again, some realistic expectations and obviously pricing, right? Because pricing is really based on the amount of negative items that you have on your credit report, which is only uncovered, again, during the free credit evaluation. So hopefully that there helps you guys. Jay Craig, thank you. No, thank you very much. And Felipe Martinez Jr., thank you so much for your response. All right. And so let me see here. Another thing, guys. Here we go. Janine Bejarano, and I'm sorry if I messed up your name there. What is your take on credit counseling? If you don't mind, can you give me some more information on what do you mean credit counseling? Is it just purely advice, or are you talking about debt consolidation, or you're talking about credit restoration? I love to speak more on that. I mean, when it comes to credit restoration, the process of credit restoration in itself, it's really a great thing and a great opportunity that the government actually gives us that right as consumers to go ahead and challenge or dispute anything on a credit report, right? And so we're pretty much staying along those lines and removing those negative items from a credit report. And the beautiful thing is that if something's unverifiable, inaccurate, or incomplete based on the Fair Credit Reporting Act, then items such as, like your name or accounts that may not be reporting the way, um, there's an error or discrepancy in the way it's reporting, meaning it doesn't match the way it reports from one credit bureau to another, then that may be some grounds that the information being reported or that was given may be inaccurate. And if it is, and if it is, which is obviously confirmed through an investigation or an evaluation, it will get removed from the credit report. And now, depending on whatever items are remaining on your credit report, that's when your scores will jump up. All right. Mike Breezy, what's up, man? If you get divorced, are your credit or individual or not joined anymore as soon as the divorce is final? Yeah, I mean, whatever accounts that are under your name obviously belong to you. However, when you get divorced, depending on what your spouse wants or feels that should be split, excuse me, or whatever agreement you guys come into conclusion with, that's pretty much up to you guys, right? But again, I've seen couples where they went ahead and decided to split everything in half, including the debts, and they're both contributing to to that one debt that I guess was occurred at the time of their marriage. So I mean, other than that, I would say just feel free to consult with an attorney or your divorce lawyer, and they should guide you more on a better guide in the right direction when it comes to that. All right. Um, Jeannie, she was referring to debt consolidation. So, what is my take on debt consolidation? My take on debt consolidation, I actually did debt consolidation in dollars a month, considering the debt that I had at that time. And what you do is you sign off kind of like a power of attorney where they represent you. And what they do is they negotiate with your debts, collectors and companies or whatever. They try to negotiate for less than the full balance that's actually reporting on there. So as I pay the 300 and some dollars a month on a month to month basis, that kind of goes like in a savings account. And um, as that money grows, then what happens is, they negotiate the balances for less than fully owed, and then the collection, the debt consolidation company, I would assume, would take the difference when it comes to as to how they profit, right? And so my thing is one thing that I didn't like. I just obviously didn't know that information then, but they told me that let all my accounts default, let everything goes into collection, because once they're going to collections, they're a little bit more desperate and they're more willing to negotiate for less than the full balance. Now the thing is that me knowing what I know about credit now, that right there is really really something that I have an issue with, because if you first off, if you let accounts go into default, you're accruing late payments until that happens. Right? Then it's a charge, then it goes in collections. And what that does is that information stays on your credit report for the next 7 years. Yeah, maybe you're not gonna have debt if you actually complete the program, but you kind of mess your stuff up, because regardless, now you can go ahead and apply for credit and they're gonna pull your report, but they're gonna see, man, this guy has a history of not paying at all or not paying on time. I'm not willing to risk lending this person money because this may happen to me too. Or, okay, let's go ahead and grant this person the loan that they're asking for, but it's going to be at a ridiculous interest rate because you're considered a high risk based on what I'm seeing on this credit report, right? And so before I tell people to consider debt consolidation or anything else, I mean, if that's the case, you can just pay yourself the 300 and something dollars if you're looking at my case, and kind of do the same thing that they're doing. And granted, the same thing can be said about credit restoration. However, the cost is a lot more less expensive, and there's a higher chance in accounts being removed, which is ultimately what you want. Because again, going back to what really happened here, right? You're looking at these collection accounts, right? You're sending disputes, you're asking for validation, for verification, and if in that 30-day time frame they're not able to provide that documentation that you're asking for, or actually factually validate these accounts that are reporting on your credit report, what ends up happening is that account gets removed. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't want to deal with anybody or make payments to any company that claims that I owe them a debt, yet they can't prove it to me, right? With relevant documentation or 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 anything like that nature, right? And so that being said, that's pretty much what my thoughts are. I've been through both the credit restoration process, the debt consolidation process, and both have their ups and their downs. However, looking at it from this standpoint, I would definitely start off again with use a company. You're doing it yourself. I would definitely start off with with the portion of first confirming and validating the information that's on my credit report. And then from there, depending on what responses you get back, is how you're going to move forward to the next steps. So hopefully that right there makes a little bit of sense to you guys. All right. So Mike Breezy. Oh, yep, we answered your question already. Tori S. What's up, Ray? Been in the program for a few months now and never received any communication from TransUnion or Equifax. What happens next? So Tori, what's up? Yeah. So right now, I don't know if you guys have been seeing in the news, but the USPS, right, the United States Postal Service, has been, I guess, maybe to some extent defunded, right, and that's kind of messed up the flow in the mailing system now, especially where we're in this time of voting or whatnot now. Regardless for the reason of that, it is affecting mail, and things are getting to us, or we're things are getting to everybody a little bit late or a little bit off, and that's ultimately affecting things, right? However, I have to see and I have to do some more research as to how that translates into um, basically the Fair Credit Reporting Act that states that we have to give them 30 days to respond back, right? Obviously, responses are taking way longer than that. However, I think we can go by the date that's listed in the documentation that the credit bureaus are going to send back to you. And so maybe it goes by that date, regardless of how long it takes over to us. Um, but for that being said, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian are really are actually on board. They're actually working. The thing is that it's taking a little bit longer to receive results, right? And so, if it's been a few months, however, we can definitely go ahead and take a look at your case and see if we can go ahead and track down some more details regarding your information. So Tori, yes, if you don't mind, give us a call to the number on the screen, and in your case, it'll be option two, so you can speak directly with the processing department since they have all the information. They're actually right here behind me as well, so that you can go ahead and call right now as we speak. Um, Jeannie, hey, how you doing? Thank you for explaining and trying to get caught up from COVID, job loss, unable to get caught up on payments on card. Yeah, so that's a lot of people, unfortunately. But yeah, hopefully, just I know it's a bad situation regardless, but again, I just don't like. I get the idea and the concept behind what debt consolidation companies let you know what to do. However, those things remain on there, right? And when they remain on there, even after you paid it, it doesn't really help you. And I'm talking about collections and things like that, or making things go on default on purpose, right? Because then things can escalate from there, especially if the amount is significant enough with court and attorneys and law and lawyers and stuff like that. Um, Sergio Morales, if a negative mark gets successfully removed, but it is inside the statute of limitations, do I still need to pay off the debt? No. No, you don't. However, let me clarify something here for you, and it's something that I have to say, right? Credit restoration focuses on the information that's being reported on your credit report, right? It does not eliminate the debt. Bankruptcy eliminates the debt, but not the information reported on your credit report. With that being said, that's why I'm just giving that disclaimer, right? Because that's what I have to say. Does the debt, like, if something gets removed from your credit report and you call that collection agency to go ahead and confirm that you want to go ahead and confirm what it is that you actually owe, obviously in their system is going to pop up that you still owe that debt. However, me individually, I know that something got removed from a credit report because it was considered unverifiable, inaccurate, and complete. If it got removed from the credit report, it was because it was considered unverifiable, inaccurate, and complete. Something in the information and the way that it was reporting, the information that the collection agency, the credit bureaus have on file in that particular account that you're challenging or disputing, that right there got removed because of that, then it was something was unverifiable or inaccurate and complete. Me personally, I wouldn't deal with a company that cannot give me verifiable, accurate, and complete information, right? And then, however, once that account is removed from my credit report, depending again on what's remaining on my credit report, my score should jump up. And with that elevated credit score, now I'm ready to make my moves, right? But it's not your fault that the company is reporting your information incorrectly. It's not your fault that the credit bureaus received it in that way. And obviously you want to make sure that everything is factual and accurate on your credit report, and you want to go ahead and challenge the way that the information is being reported, because there are errors on everybody's credit reports. It's just a matter of really understanding a credit report and looking through one to identify what those discrepancies are, to then again leverage the Fair Credit Reporting Act or the other acts that protects us as consumers to ultimately get these accounts removed. All right. Let me see here. Julio, what's up, man? How you doing? I've been in program, but getting behind on funds and pause for a way. Will it affect my restoration program? No, if you ask for a pause, that's exactly what we did with pause. And whenever you're ready, you're more than welcome to contact us back, and we'll start off where we left off. Let me see here. Um, all right, so Let me go ahead with that. So with that being said, guys, that's pretty much it for right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and love the support. I'm looking forward to speaking to every one of you guys. And again, I highly encourage the free credit evaluation, since it's only 20 minutes of your time and you get a ton of information regarding your credit and that nice analysis, detailed analysis, if you will, to take home with you to go ahead and review for yourself, friends, or family, to make a really educated decision on whether to start credit restoration program, or at the very least just know what plan is available for you, so that you can go ahead and revisit and get moving forward with your financial goals, right, on the credit side. So with that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for the love and support. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with family and friends, and until the next episode on Keeping It With Credit. Peace. Bye, guys. Thank you so much.